Clint has not looked up from his phone since I put us up here. Completely unaware. Here we are.
Yeah, we're here, man. We're live.
Second time in a day, so don't worry if you watch this in the future that I'm wearing the same shirt and you're probably like, man, does he ever change his clothes? No, yes, I do. But
shut up! This guy's all AI. He's not even real, man. Nobody's met the guy. It's all AI. Yeah, it's all bogus.
You can go down some weird places when you start thinking about what's been created with AI. No I'm like, I know some people maybe discount it, but I think with AI, I start thinking about once they can, what's stopping them from having conversations and learning from each other and developing personalities as they talk. And like, it actually made me think about like, this is going to get kind of abstract, but
let's do it.
We all are a little AI in the way we interact with each other. Like, we have certain things that we say and talk about, hey, how are you doing today? Oh man, this weather, like talk about the weather. We talk about like these standard,
how about those Indians?
Common things that humans have chosen on how to engage with each other. And it's like, it's literally like programmed into you and you can't, it's hard to break away from it. And if you don't do that, you're like a weirdo.
So you don't want to talk about Litecoin? Oh, okay.
Oh, we're going to talk about Litecoin.
No, I was talking like in general when you're talking to the public. It's like, oh, you don't want to talk about crypto and Litecoin?
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah, right? They're like, and I put a couple of times I put out there on my Facebook, personal Facebook, of like, hey, I'm just doing this thing over on Twitter if you guys are interested. And there are not many of them, but I got a couple. I got a couple friends that are buying and follow me, but not many. So, well, all right. Assuming people are going to watch this in the future, it's April 15th, tax day, Clint's favorite day of the year.
Yep. Love
Even though I think April 17th is technically tax day this year.
You know what? I think they said it's the 18th, which makes no sense. Why wouldn't it be Monday the 17th? Since tax day's on the Saturday, you would think they would just say, okay, the next business day. But I think it's the 18th. So they just get like an extra day on Monday. I mean, what's with that?
I don't know. Thank your lucky stars. I mean, if you had to get it in, you could overnight it. But
well, I'm into Litecoin, so I've made no money. So I've got nothing. I'm underwater, brother.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I know. I think I was talking to that master about that. He was talking about taxes. I'm like, if the price is down, you know how many taxes to pay anyway. Right. But all right, why you got to be negative? All right.
Hey, I think it's positive. It's on sale. I love the blue light specials. Remember Kmart? They'd roll out the blue light special. I love that stuff. Blue light special in aisle 17. And get your Litecoin for under $100. I mean, come on, man. It's a deal.
Well, so I told Lisa, I'm trying to do these, I guess, maybe I call it Litecoin fam roundup or something. Just interview a bunch of you guys and different personalities in the Litecoin community. Maybe what's your story? What's your goal here? Yeah, you got a lot of swag out there.
I do, man. I got a museum going. I got pictures over here on the wall. I got all kinds of
What's the event you always hold in the summertime?
Okay, I just call it Westwood. I started doing it in 2020, and that's when you first had the lockdowns and everything. And that year so 2019, we were in kind of that mid-cycle rise in crypto where it kind of moved up, and you had the Litecoin halving, however you want to say it. And then you kind of got that midsummer pump in June. And so we were going to a lot of meetups in 2019. In fact, Lisa talked about it. I met her in Blanco, Texas. That's what I was talking about in the chat at a meetup in April of 2019. I talked to her before that at the end of 18. But anyway, 2019, we started doing a lot of events. A lot of the crew got together here in the Midwest, and Mitch and J-Mac, and I mean, just Paulie P, all these people, and, Lisa. And so we started going to different meetups and just kind of going on the road, spending our own money, no sponsorships or anything, just wanting to meet people and getting together. And crypto brought us together, so, hey, let's go. And so we did that for a while. I lost my point, but so you're talking about my meetup.
That was in 19, and then
2019, right? And so at the beginning of 2020, I remember it was in Flint, Michigan. Andreas Antonopoulos came to a meetup. A couple of guys up there that we knew set it up and got him to come. So we went to that, and it was like awesome in January 2020.
In Flint, Michigan?
In Flint, Michigan. Andreas Antonopoulos. I mean, had a packed room in a bar. and nobody really knew about it. It was kind of on the down low, and he wanted it to keep it kind of quiet. Andreas did, and this guy we knew reached out to him and kind of got him to show up. It was a great event. I mean, he's
is he from around there? Like, that's so strange to me.
I don't think so. He
That's
said he had
fairly
some.
close to
No,
me. I drive through Flint. It's not a
yep,
place that you think of
no,
tech at all.
no. He said he had some business that he needed to come to Flint anyway, and he said, "Yeah, let's set it up, make it happen." And so that happened at the beginning of 2020, and then we had all the lockdowns starting. And so all these crypto events that we're going to are pretty much everybody's afraid, canceling everything. Oh, forget it. We don't know what, everybody's scared, fear porn, all that crap. So I said in 2020, I said, this is ridiculous. I'm going to put on a meetup, just a community. Hey, let's come together. And at the time, I'm like, this is going to be the only meetup of 2020 that you can go to because nobody else is going to have any. They're all scared. And I said, I ain't scared, And so I brought all my friends together, Lisa, and, all these people, all these crypto crew that we kind of hang with. And I had it at my place in the middle of a cornfield in Illinois. And so ever since then, 2020 and then 2021, 22, 23, and I'm going to have it again this year. Usually I'll do a couple events a year. One big one in June-ish. Usually it was July the first year, but I'm like, I want to bring the community together. And it's kind of an underground grassroots kind of thing to where it's like, you're invited, you're invited, you'll get reached out to kind of thing. So it's not something we publicly for that particular meetup, but what we've been doing every year is tying in a happy hour meetup public event during that same time frame, in like a bigger town around here. So, hey, we can bring people in around, and just have a public meetup, but then we have like our community family meetup at my place. And so that'll be in June. And so as far as the public event, I'm not 100% sure where we're going to do that. We've been doing it in Peoria, Illinois, which is pretty central. You're talking about somewhere central in the Midwest. And that's where we usually do it. We'll have a public happy hour live thing. People can come drink, hang out at the bar, talk crypto, we'll send you Litecoin on the wallets, download wallets. I mean, just open to anybody. Come on, free, just show up. And so.
Yeah, that'd be cool if like that it can kind of grow. Obviously being on your own land is probably, you get a little squirrely about that, but you would think we could maybe, because I was actually looking at this within the last few days.
You got your drink? What you drinking, Grant?
I'm not drinking anything right now, dude. I was starving. I hadn't eaten. I'm trying to lose some weight, to be honest with you. And I was like,
I hear you. I need to.
I just had my lunch and I'm like, I hadn't eaten all morning. So I'm just happy to have some energy back. But, what are you already drinking beers? What do you got?
Well, I'm going to have a beer. I got a happy hour hangover. I was late. I had a Spaces last night. We went to like 1:00 in the morning. And so I didn't change with Lisa like I said I was going to do because I'm like, let her have the early shift because she's going to be hurt. So I thought I'll put it off a little bit. But anyway, no Bud Light for me. I got some Big Wave, Aloha, something.
Big Wave, yeah.
Yeah, I like the Hawaii beer.
I gotta say, like, I really don't want to get too political about things because I really, I think it's bad. Well, but I think that the Bud Light thing might be a turning point. I think that like my wife, again, I say she's not very politically involved at all, but even she was just like, why would you do that? Like, well, that seems like the worst idea you could possibly have. Everybody knows. You see somebody drinking, who's your core audience with like Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light? Guys out fishing, hunting, out and about.
Working all week. Maybe not working all week, sitting around a trailer in a freaking fold-up chair. I mean, just any average Joe. Me, I used to drink Bud Light all the time. And it's just, I won't do it now just because I'm not going to give my energy to somebody that wants to set an agenda. Just make the beer and I'll drink it. I don't need an agenda to go with it. And that's what pisses a lot of people off, like me. And like you're saying, just common people are like, everybody resonates with like drinking beer. I mean, especially in the Midwest. And I mean, when you go and do something so far to either extreme, that's just not what you do. It's not good business. I mean, you should be apolitical and sell a good product and get as many people involved as possible rather than alienating a base. And that's what they've done.
Well, it's tough. The other tipping point, because I've even shown, again, I would say my wife tries to she's not actively like on Twitter or diving into this debates, right? It's like she doesn't want to get involved in it, but so it's like some of the things you show them, you're like, look at how crazy things are getting, and nothing has really resonated. But I think what's happened a bit is it's a bit of an insult to women And I think that's where, uh, there hell hath no fury. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Where it's like you're pretending. I get it. I'm not saying there's not transgender people,
Right.
but there's something about the way that guy's portraying women. It's like over feminized, and it's like a caricature of what a woman would be, even. So it's almost like, wait, are you playing with me? It almost feels like this is you're messing with me. You're pushing my buttons a little too much. And I think for whatever reason that particular person on that particular beer can
Shim or
is
whatever you
just
want to.
like, whoa. And I think Bud Light drinkers will sit there and say, we're just gonna, maybe not abandon forever, but boy, you're not gonna get any of our sales this summer until,
Yeah, we're going
uh,
to teach you a little lesson and smack you
yeah.
down a little bit,
And
and it may
so,
come back. It may, but the
I
lesson needs to be
ultimately, yeah,
taught.
a lot of that stuff, I think things get a little extreme where it's like, just because someone identifies as whatever doesn't mean that they're the enemy or they're on the other side, they're liberal or whatever, or conservative. It's so sometimes I don't like the jumping to conclusion, the extremism. Um, so I hope that we can have a more balanced conversation about it, because I think that it's been like you can't even have the conversation, and
Oh,
now
I
at
know.
least
You get shut down.
yeah. So some of the sports leagues changing. I think it was like the national organization for, it wasn't the Olympics, but it was like International Sports Council or something, made it so that biological men can't compete against biological women. Those are just little tiny steps, and so hopefully we can meet some sort of center ground here. I didn't think we'd be talking about this, but
No, I
it's
mean I'll talk
certain.
about anything. It's not just vampires. I mean, let's talk about some things that are whatever you want to talk about. We'll talk about some chart. We'll talk about Litecoin price action. We'll talk about whatever.
I did that today. I
I
did that
saw
today.
that earlier, and I like the gold silver research that you've done. And I mean, I've always been a big silver bug just before I ever got into crypto because, listen, I knew that the economic system was toast. I just knew that from an early age. I just tried to figure out, okay, what do you do about it, And
Yeah.
so silver was kind of the answer for me because I look at gold and I'm like, it has no use case other than, okay, put it this way, I shouldn't say that. The use case is that you can't destroy it. I mean, it's like your energy can get soaked up into it and you can't burn it, can't, put it underwater. It's not going to rust, tarnish, any of that stuff. I mean, you can't be destroyed. And so
Right.
that's the benefit of it. It's not like, assets that can burn up in a fire or anything. And silver, though, is very similar to that, but it's got a use case. It's got medicinal purposes, antibacterial, viral, and industry, best conductor of electricity, those kind of things. It gets used up like you were talking about. And I get my head around it. I'm like, wait a minute, why would I buy all this gold that all the big players control anyway? Because you got to have big money, and those are the people that hold it. Central banks, all the people we don't like that have screwed the system up. I
Right.
like silver better because it's on sale, man. It does the same thing that gold does, and you got to use it. It gets consumed, and it's a lot cheaper. And the ratio coming out of the ground, I don't know if you talked about that. It's something like 8-1. Gold versus silver coming out of the ground, something stupid. And it's just like Bitcoin and Litecoin. It's like, okay, look at the ratios. One's
You
way
mean
undervalued.
how many tons are coming out of the ground, or
Yeah,
like
per
how
year.
much?
Like per year. How much are they extracting? New extractions every year out of
Let's
the
see.
ground. How much is being mined?
The mining was like 3 to 5,000. Oh, no, I got it written down. What would be actually more interesting is how many dollars worth of gold are pulled out of the ground versus how many dollars worth of
Yeah,
silver.
you're right. No, that's a good point.
Let's see. So yeah, here it says gold is
Energy.
mined. Well, gold they said 2,500 to 3,000 tons a year. Silver is 26,000 tons a year.
So
So
10
it's
to
like
1. Is that
10 to 1.
Okay, 10 to 1. And the
Um,
ratio is like 70 to 1 as far as dollar price, I think. 70, 80 to 1
yeah,
probably.
10, 4, yeah, maybe even 80. Is silver about
Yeah.
$25 right now?
Yeah, about 25, 26, and gold's like 20, 50, I think.
Well, those parallels are so interesting to me that, like,
Right. And that's why
when
I
you look at
resonated
like
with Litecoin.
Litecoin, yeah, has the utility. People are using it more for what
Yep.
it's actually intended to be used for, but the speculative value is smaller.
Yes.
And so that more than anything, like, says to me, like, maybe there's more like top heavy risk to gold and Bitcoin, right? And less of that risk in silver and Litecoin.
I think so. I mean, you take your energy. It's like, hey, if you make $2,000 a month, let's say, okay, you got $2,000 a month left over. What are you gonna do with it? You're gonna put it. Nobody has that, but I mean, you're gonna put that into an ounce of gold. or are you going to get like 80 ounces of silver? I mean, the tangibility of that, having 1 ounce of gold in your hand versus all this pile of silver in your hands, like, you know, and the thing is, if you want to spend the gold and you want to buy something, if you're not buying a high ticket item, I mean, what are you going to do? Carve it up? And I mean, shave pieces of it off? I mean, how do you do that? With silver, you've got all these coins. Like, oh, I'll give you 1 coin for that. Well, okay, I'll give you an 80th ounce of this gold for that. Okay, now you've destroyed the numismatic value and all the others. It's like, it doesn't make as much sense to do that. So, I don't know. Litecoin's the same way to me. It's way undervalued compared to Bitcoin, and it
I'll be
value faster and better.
To be honest with you, before I looked at that stuff today, I was like, I would always think of like, yeah, gold's probably the place to go. But after watching that, I'm like, reading that, I'm like, you know, silver really does have a lot more foundational use case. Like the bottom is higher, right? It's only going to drop so much because there's an actual
can't go to zero,
right?
You know, it can't go to zero.
Where gold, there's very little actual need for it. So it's only the monetary premium. So if that ever goes away, you're in real trouble.
I agree with you.
But I think that's also true with some of these blockchains outside of even Bitcoin and Litecoin. Is you look at the ones that are actually having a lot of activity. Sometimes they don't have the monetary premium that other ones do. And then like we would think about, once you realize, okay, well, this is what this tool is used for, is to send money around the world, privately possess it. And if you had to have two tools side by side on which one you'd want to use, Bitcoin or Litecoin, in that scenario, you're going to pick Litecoin because it's faster, easier, cheaper. It's got all those advantages.
It's going to cost me this much more to send this, and it's going to take this much longer.
Right.
And I can use this. I mean, you know, exactly. I mean, if you're transferring it, you know, from distances around the world, the actual utility, the use case is undeniable. Which one's better?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, it probably will be a matter of time if this monetary premium speculative nature, which is so funny because I think Bitcoiners would tell you there's no speculation in Bitcoin, but that's really primarily what it's used for. It's like,
right. If you don't spend it and don't use it, then that's all it is. You know?
That's all you're doing is speculating. So, Paulie P checking in.
All right, good deal. Paulie P, get this out there, share it. He probably already did. It takes time for people to kind of get going.
I would have
a tough time.
Like I said, I had taken a little time off of drinking to lose a little weight. I had some last night. I did the same thing as you. I was like, I woke up today like, got to get my act together.
Right, pull it together, straighten up.
Yeah,
put the
dogs got me up. I was kind of glad they did.
That's usually my deal on Saturday. The dogs wake me up and say, "I got to go out. Get up."
All right, well, I'm pulling here. Let me pull up your page here. What do you do? When do you do videos?
You know, my YouTube channel, what you can do is, if you want to find anything that I do, go to that link that I've got down there, clintwestwood.net, and I put any happy hour meetups that we have at the top. It's a very basic site. And then it'll take you to my YouTube, take you to my Twitter. I got links to it, so you don't have to search, you know, _ Clint Westwood _ that stuff, you know, the handle. Just go to clintwestwood.net, and then right at the top, you can click through on any social media that I have. But the YouTube videos, I will put up, usually I do one a day, you know, maybe 3 or 4 days a week. You know, a lot of times in the morning, if I'm taking my daughter to school in the car, I'll turn the camera on because I'm talking to myself anyway, you know, so why not turn the camera on and talk smack to everybody else? So I'll just talk about whatever's going on that day and just ramble. And then
you driving home from work or something?
Yeah, like going to school, you know, take my daughter to school or driving, you know, wherever I'm going. Just turn the camera on. I'm in the car. Why waste the time? You know, I'm thinking about this stuff anyway, so let's ramble.
You just use the regular mic. You don't worry about road noise or anything?
Nope, I just put the camera up on a little mount that I've got there and turn it on, and I just use the speaker on the phone. And
that is when I do my best ranting too.
Yes, that's why I'm like, I do that. You know, that's why I started doing it, because here's what I used to do. In end of 2018, I went to the Litecoin Summit 2019. But at the end of 2018, I met a lot of great people at the Litecoin Summit and had the conversation because I was debating. And you see this, you mentioned it earlier, in the Litecoin community especially, you know, a lot of people want to remain anonymous. And so at the time, I'm like, people are like, you need to make videos, you need to do something, you need to get out there and do this. I mean, you got some knowledge. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't know if I want to out myself. I don't know if I want to get out there, you know, put your face out there. It's not like I'm attractive or anything and people are going to resonate. So somebody said, just get out there and do it. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. And one of the Litecoin fam chats, you know, the guy said, hey, get in here. And, you know, so we meet a bunch of people. So I started doing Twitter videos, and I'd done that before I really got with the Litecoin community, but I started doing Twitter videos, and they're 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So I kind of got that down to an art form to where I'd come out with a boom, 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 2 minutes, 20 seconds, talk about this and get the message across. And I did that for several years, but recently I've kind of slacked on that a little bit. But I got more into the YouTube because I get more into the rambling. Everything's going on. I'm talking about this, and you can see I can ramble. So I started doing longer videos. And so, but with Elon doing the Twitter thing, I may go ahead and sign up for that, and then, you know, put the long videos on Twitter, because it's like an hour long, I think you can do, and YouTube, and maybe, you know, reach more of an audience, even though Twitter's not that platform for that, but at least it's on there, because a lot of people, there's not a lot of bleed over from Twitter to YouTube sometimes, and you see that in the chat. It's like tough to get that cut over.
Yeah, I kind of, you know, didn't do much for a while. Like, as far as doing the spaces, but the podcast thing, I don't know. I quit last summer, and then like getting it back going again. I don't know why. I just, you know, been lazy. And so that's another mode of communication that I think a lot of people use because it's convenient, because you can like just pop your earbuds in and walk around, you know. So I always would listen when I'm driving, or I'm walking my dog, or doing some work around the house, or mowing the lawn, or whatever. So I think that's where I'm going to try to put some more energy. So that kind of helps in that people don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
And so they might be willing to come on and do some things on there.
I think you would be very successful at doing that. And I've seen some podcasts come and go, friends that have had them, and they were successful. And it fell apart because of, you know, this or that. But I mean, you've got a great voice. You've got the great intellect. You know how to, you know, ask the right questions, and you're very steady as far as, you know, you don't take one extreme side or the other, and you kind of extract the information. I think you'd be great at a podcast, and I think you would get a much larger audience doing that, because I mean, I think that's a good niche. It really is.
Well, I appreciate that. You're like,
no, I think
the voice thing. I got to tell you, you Litecoiners have been telling me the voice thing from day one. I got like, tell my wife,
it though. I mean,
these grown men are complimenting my voice.
Right. Strange. Well, I've been drinking Jack Daniels and Bud Light my whole life, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, you're kind of pretty too, Grant.
You got a pretty little mouth.
I don't want to go there, but I want to go there.
So yeah, very basic.
A lot going on.
I just built it myself using basic HTML, and, you know, I got my own page, and so I'll just hand code this stuff, because I kind of go way back doing that. I don't know a lot, but enough to get by, and so I'll put a lot of links out there, just content. I haven't updated the videos that I'm on for like a year, because just look at the right side there. I mean, I just like posting all these videos.
You know, and if people have your YouTube, right? Are these all on your YouTube?
Yeah, so right. So look up at the top there on the left where all the links are. So if you go to the YouTube, or you go to Lisa's YouTube, I mean, all those videos are out there. And I don't do a lot of interviews. I really don't. I mean, people ask me, and I don't want to do it. You know, it's just, I don't know. So I'll do it for you, because I like what you're doing. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna. I don't care. I don't want to get out there and be this big, you know, influencer and all that stuff. I want to live my life, be left alone, have sound money for the digital age, and, you know, opt out of the freaking system that's a vampire right now, vampire casino. I want out. And I just don't want to play the game, you know, because I see a lot of these just like, hey, can I come on your podcast? Well, we're Bitcoin only. It's like, whatever. I mean, that's your wheelhouse. Do your thing. But it's like, that's not why I'm doing this stuff. I just want people to have money that, you know, you go to work and your energy gets valued in something that doesn't get erased through inflation, because you've got a vampire Fed system that does whatever they want with the monetary supply and robs you of your energy, you know, every year. F that. I don't want that, you know. And so whatever it takes, whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Digibyte, whatever it is that people can use and put their money into, that transacts their value, that nobody can steal from them, they can hold it in their own possession. If they can do that, I'm all for it, man. You know, I'm not one coin only. Yeah, I'm kind of a Litecoin maximalist, but I love other coins too. Use them if they work.
Yeah, that's, you know, I said that with Lisa. It's like, I live as a Litecoin maximalist, in my personal stash, but I don't have any care about what you want to do with
you. Like Vertcoin? I like Vertcoin.
I don't know. You know what? I'll tell you the truth. I sold my Vertcoin.
Yeah. I figured, you know what?
Well, because Bittrex was like the only place with Vertcoin.
Yeah, so it gets to the point
They
where
are
it's illiquid.
news. If anybody doesn't know this, Bittrex is closing their U.S. operations by the end of this month. So
That's a big
if you
deal
have,
because a lot of those coins were on there that you can't get anywhere else, and now they're illiquid basically, unless it's truly peer to peer.
yeah, so that's why I got out. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I was already worried about it because that was the only place Vertcoin was. But
Yep.
Digibyte, there's Digibyte in a lot of places.
They're on Binance, and they're on Bittrex. That was kind of one of the big ones, but they're still on Binance and a couple other exchanges. Yeah, that's the problem with that. I mean, I love their tech. I love that they got multiple algorithms. I love that they, do like a real-time adjustment, and it's 15-second blocks and it's super fast. I mean, they've got a pretty good community. But the thing is, it's just the liquidity. And that's why I always fall on the side of Litecoin first for me, because I mean, money's got to work. You got to be able to transact with it. I mean, you've got to have gateways in and out, and it's got to be, it's got to be liquid. And so Digibyte's time will come. Even Dogecoin, it's not that liquid. I mean, it is on a lot of exchanges, but if you think about it, is it on many ATMs? I mean, not really. I mean, but Bitcoin, Litecoin, they're always on that stuff together. And so if it's the choice, I'm taking Litecoin. Just no brainer.
Yeah. It's funny because Charlie has always been like, hey, Bitcoin, get your Bitcoin first and then start buying your Litecoin.
Right.
And that's very frustrating to hear as a Litecoiner. Come on,
I
man.
know.
But I feel that way about people when they do talk about Digibyte. I go, I can see this happening, but you gotta understand that's going to be some years down the road.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to the point. I mean, Litecoin, I think in the last few years with all the metrics of usage going up and the fact it is everywhere and it got on PayPal and Venmo, those are huge accomplishments for Litecoin. To sit there and say, here's 4 coins and Litecoin's always one. There's always 3. There's usually been 4. Bitcoin Cash is usually included, but when it is only 3, Litecoin's the third one. It's not Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, it won't be Bitcoin Cash, right? Because it's just the way it is. It's the metrics. I mean, and you go over it, and Master goes over it. I mean, it's just like a no-brainer staring you in the face. And if you're watching this in the future, here we are, April 15th, 2023. Right now, Litecoin under $100 is a no-brainer because if you look at the fundamentals of it, 84 million, 8 billion people in the world. If you divide it equally, it's only enough for 1/100th of a Litecoin per person. Now, if you can take $100 fake Fed note, fiat money right now and buy 1 Litecoin, you're 100 times ahead of the rest of the world. I mean, you're winning. And at some point, those metrics that you see right now that you guys look at, all the adoption, all the wallets opening up, and the hash rate and all that stuff, we're going to look back and say, shoot, why didn't I buy it then? Because it was right in front of my face. I knew I should have done that. And it's $1,000.
Damn it.
God, I'm an idiot. Why? It was so obvious. So through the lens of history, you'll look back and say, well, God, what were they thinking? It was so stupid and obvious that why would you buy anything else? But we have to be vindicated at some point when, it will. Markets always correct themselves eventually if they're allowed to correct themselves.
Hey guys, I just want to take a quick break to show you a very cool tool that's available to you as a Litecoiner called Cake Wallet. They've been on the show a number of times, and what I wanted to do is show you some of the things that are really cool you can do with Cake Wallet. So as you can see, this is my Litecoin wallet. If I wanted to keep other assets on here, I can actually keep other ones in multiple wallets. You can see I have a couple Litecoin and a Monero one, but you can actually store Monero, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Haven on Cake Wallet. The other cool thing you can do that isn't available at all places is down the center here is the exchange button. I can swap between Litecoin and really any of these other assets. I mean, you can see it's a pretty broad range of assets. For you Doge people, we can get some Doge if you want. If you want Decred or Raven, Dash, all that stuff available to you. I only generally stick between these assets because it's easy. It's inside the wallet, right? I don't have to get a new wallet for Dash or something. Other cool things, obviously you can send and receive. It'll give you your history, kind of what you sent, when you sent it, just like any other wallet would. But probably the coolest thing that Cake Wallet has, and is going to be necessary to us because we're at this point losing the Litecoin card, is Cake Pay. So this is in the US only. They're expanding it soon. But basically I can go into here. I can pick anything I want to buy. Let's say I think I used this for AutoZone recently. See, if I use AutoZone, I save 2%. I go in here, I've got a bill for, they tell me at the register, it's 26, maybe 42 after tax or something like that. I continue. It says, are you sure you want to do it? Now you can see I saved a couple percent by using it, but as soon as I hit gift card purchase at the bottom there, it'll give me that exact amount gift card. So I spend it the one time, it scans, and it's gone. Very cool feature, and if you're looking to use your crypto, as we like to do at Litecoin, then I would recommend that you do it. So check out CakePay, and thanks for watching.
So I think you'll see Litecoin shine. You know, it'll do what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the chart. Like that was, you know, was something that's been, again, you talk about being right in front of my face.
Now you can't find it.
Well, no, on Wednesday we were talking about this, like adoption, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know why it didn't strike me until towards the end. Master and I were talking about it. I was like, you know, when you think about it, a coin going down in value consistently while its metrics are growing at the same time is probably pretty unusual. Like the fact that we're growing through a bear market and that utility value is coming in, right? And I really do think this is being used a lot outside the US for actual remittances and that type of thing. To go to like Mexico, El Salvador, and then even in, I always post that one thing when Bread Wallet launched, or when they added Litecoin. They said, you know, a lot of our users for store of value are using Bitcoin, but in the places like Latin America and Africa, they specifically said where people are transacting it, the preferred choice is Litecoin. They use that language. And you can see, so the fact that here the price, let me look at this. We reached a point when the price was $400 or whatever, $355, and we haven't wavered from that. Despite the price going down dramatically, our daily transactions are what, 3 times what they were 3 years ago. And if you went back to 2017, we were look at daily transactions. Look at this number, 4,000 at the beginning of 2017, and now it's 100,000, 130,000.
That's insane. I mean, it's crazy to think about it. You know, it's actually being used. And a lot of people I know who were earlier in the crypto space, especially 2017. And that's why I think Litecoin had that big run up. One of the reasons, and why a lot of people stick with it, is because they realized at the time, when you're moving Bitcoin around and you've got a lot of retail, people coming in, and you look at the transaction fees that you're paying to move $50, it might be $25, $30, maybe $50 on some days to move $50. They're like, what else can I do here? I got to get this to an exchange. I mean, this is silly. And so a lot of them started using Litecoin as that movement rail, the rails of payments and transfers. And I know a lot of people who have said that. They're like, that's when I discovered Litecoin and kept using it because I could use it and it was cheap. And I'm like, why would I want to be sending Bitcoin around when, I can put it in Litecoin, move it around wherever I want. And then ultimately, if I want to get back into Bitcoin, put it back into that or put it into another coin. But there's no sense sending Bitcoin anywhere. And you look at it, you probably look at the metrics, but well, that's why we have Lightning Network, I guess. But I mean, sometimes you want to settle on chain, you don't want a second,
right.
A third party, second party, whoever, doing it. And there's a place for that. But if I want a peer-to-peer transaction, and I use this example all the time, if it's a weekend right now and tomorrow's Sunday, and say I got my little Digibug Volkswagen Beetle for sale, and I'm going to sign the title over to somebody and they're going to drive away. What am I going to take as payment that I can trust on a Sunday when the banks are closed? So I'm not taking a check. Okay, the coin dealers are closed. So if somebody brings me gold or silver, I don't have any testers or any of that stuff. I don't know if it's legit. It could be fraudulent. Am I going to take cash? I don't have the yellow little marker pinned where I can tell if it's fake, I mean, it could be counterfeit and I get scammed. They're taking my car, my asset. It's gone. I've signed it away. And whatever they give me, I better have faith that I have it in my possession. And I tell everybody, I say, you send me crypto, specifically, you send me Litecoin. I'll take Digibyte. I mean, I really don't want Bitcoin because I want to get rid of these people. I don't want to be waiting all day because they didn't put enough transaction fee in there. You know what I mean? It's like, I want it done.
Sure.
Get out of my property, get off my property, take it and go. I don't want to see anymore. And it's like, pay me a Litecoin because I can see it on my phone. And I'm like, boom, the network transacted, the network confirmed it. It's outside the banking system. It's outside of government. Once I get it, I know I'm good. Ain't nobody taking that away. I got it.
Right.
And so that's a great use case, peer-to-peer transactions. And I mean, that's what we got to start doing with this money, using it as money. And until then, you can bitch and moan all you want about all the banks, this and that. And it's like, okay, what are you doing about it? Are you leaving your money in the bank? And you got $100,000 in retirement. What are you doing with it? If you want to opt out of that and quit being controlled by the vampire casino, opt out of it because the tools are already here. Don't wait. You've got the ability since 2009, 2011 with Litecoin. Do it. Take it out and start using it. I mean, a local guy, went to grade school with him. He's got a mechanic. He's auto shop. So I had a little work done on my car, took it up there, and, I paid him in cash. And I said, hey, man, I gave him a silver coin, 1 ounce silver coin as a tip. He's like, what is this? And I was like, no, just hang on to it. And had Litecoin, the Litecoin silver round, and I gave it to him. And I gave him my little crypto card that I take everywhere and get in trouble leaving it at ATMs sometimes. But so I leave that. It's got all this information. They can scan it and get information on cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and Litecoin. I gave him that. And he's like, oh, you're into crypto? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, man, And I said, yeah, I know the banks. And this is just a few weeks ago. I said, I know the banks, they collapsed. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I got it in the credit union, but it still worries me having my money in there. And I said, that's why I'm into crypto, man, because I want to be outside that system. And so you're planting seeds, and it takes forever sometimes, but it's okay. You just put the message out there. And at some point, he may say, yeah, you know what? I'd like to get into that. And I want to be able to take my car and say, hey, can I pay you in Litecoin? And he'll be like, yeah, cool, send it to me. And so you got to build those networks of people, at a grassroots level to where you can have like-minded people transacting value in a new form of money. Because, the old system, it's effed, man. They've got it completely. It's just not good. It's collapsing in front of us, and we've got options. Let's teach people how to use it at the local level. Don't think big picture, because you were talking about that. You feel charities and this, and you feel frustrated. Sometimes people do, because where's my money going? 25% of it goes to this charity. 75% goes to overhead. The real people don't get it, and so by you buying that NFT, which is awesome, goes directly 100% of it to the person.
Yeah.
And so if we can start doing that, 100% of our energy that we've stored up into Litecoin, for instance, goes to that person. There's no middleman. There's no bank fees. There's no waiting, no frustration, aggravation.
Right.
That's what we got to do, man. We got the tools to do it. Pick the tools up, economic tools on the battlefield. Pick them up, use them, win the war. All right.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny because literally on Wednesday at the end of the show, I was just shitting on NFTs, but
and then you don't buy one 3 days.
Well, but what I was shitting on was I don't know. Maybe I got a lot. Maybe, I'm not going to leap to too many conclusions, but it is very cool that there's also this bit of it's a receipt that you can show that you actually did donate something. You actually did do something, and it can't be fabricated.
Yep. And you've got that unique identifier, that product, that NFT, it's an address. It's really all it is. It's an address that you possess the ownership of. But with that address comes this image in this case, to where it's like, look, I bought this. I can send that to you, so you have ownership of this. And think of VIP tickets, backstage passes to, Nine Inch Nails, for instance. It's like, hey, if you want to get backstage, there's only 100 NFTs, and you got to buy one. And you present it on your phone, and see, that's where the tools need to pick up and make it more usable. And when it does, we'll have massive adoption. But right now, just like buying the NFT, the tools they're not there. The framework's there. The foundation's there. It's just the usability's not there, and the interface isn't there. But once that happens, you'll have your NFT right here on your phone. And it is on some chains, but anyway, it needs to happen on Litecoin. But you'll have the NFT on your phone, and it's like, okay, backstage pass, boom, NFT. It's got the 9 Inch Nails logo, whatever it is, and you just go backstage. You've got your backstage pass, and they know there's only 100 of them. They know the addresses, and
well, I just thought about God, see, maybe I'm changing my course. Here's what I don't think is that they're insanely high value, but I do think, like, let's say, I tell everybody I play the sport of curling, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of times you go, they trade pins at different clubs, or like if you got into a tournament, let's say you won a tournament, you
Okay.
just pick, oh, hey, with that you get an NFT, whatever. And then
Yeah.
over time, you'd actually be able to go back and look, and go, oh, I can actually look at where have I won, where have I gotten second? Not necessarily even to show off, but just for my own memory, because you
Right.
forget that stuff. When did I play in that tournament? I don't
Well, there's
remember when
notepads
I
and
played
sticky
that,
notes.
right? And you're like, oh, 2018, right here, like it's in my NFT collection. So all right, maybe
There,
I don't know, dude. I'm
the thing
schizophrenic
is,
on
what
NFTs.
it's crazy because what soured us is that NFT is art on the blockchain. No, it's not. I mean, it is and it isn't. I mean, and then they got that whole big frenzy of buy these artworks, limited apes and sharks and Sasquatches, whatever. And it gets to the point where, okay, it's just this speculative euphoric thing where I've got to have it,
Right.
but it undermines the fact that what the NFT really is, a non-fungible token, a non-interchangeable token, fungible, interchangeable. So it's non-interchangeable, it's unique. Well, if you get 100 apes, are they unique? Well, not really. So it kind of deviates from what the NFT really is. So if you've got this non-fungible thing, this address on the blockchain that it has these identifiers, and like you said, has your house deed or marriage certificate or whatever it is, it's permanent. It's on there. You can always look it up. Just like, hey, here's my curling scores from 2020. It's in an NFT at this address. And you go, boom, and you look it up. Or it's an ordinal, I guess. That's another thing. And you can go look it up. It's etched in that blockchain, the stone of that blockchain that does not, it's immutable. And so do you want to put it on Solana? That's up to you. Use the Solana phone and, restart it 3 times a day. I mean, or do you want to put it on a blockchain that's going to be around for a long time, especially an uninterrupted blockchain that's been running since 2011, like Litecoin. I mean, That's where you want to put valuable information that cannot be changed. And you're basically, like I said, etching it in stone, like a tablet on that blockchain. And there's value to that. I mean,
Right. It is interesting what might play out between ordinals and NFTs, because the ordinal thing, again, I'm for whatever. If people want to use it for that for now, I don't necessarily see that as having, for a lot of these use cases, you might as well just use the NFT platform.
Yeah.
But there may be certain things you want to put on the ordinals. It's just the cost. The cost of both is pretty cheap right now, so we haven't gotten to the point where there's a differentiation there.
Yeah.
So maybe someday we will. I don't know. But all right.
It's a cool thing, though, that you can preserve history in this new digital world in a safe source. And I mean, that's the real value of it. What cost, at some point, the cost is going to be pretty high. Well, so then you'll move to a Dogecoin blockchain or a Digibyte blockchain or something else when, Litecoin becomes like Bitcoin as far as fees. And it will at some point. The blocks will be full. It'll have a use case. It'll become the store of value. It'll be the next Bitcoin as far as that goes. But what time frame is that? Don't know. So for right now, it's cheap. You're getting it on the best blockchain out there right now, and you're getting it on the cheap and storing it on there. So it's like, man, see value and do it now before. But everybody does it when it's expensive.
It is funny that if the whole idea is that this is, I'm buying it and I get to own it forever. Well, you better be sure that whatever you're storing it on exists forever.
Right.
Like that's or can't be shut down or can't be stopped in some way, whether it's nefarious or accidental or whatever. Yeah. So the ones that have stood the test of time, Bitcoin and Litecoin, that's where you should want to operate. I don't know. And I guess, we're at the point, I don't know if Ethereum has crept into that realm yet, just because proof of stake is so new. So I think if they had stayed proof of work, I think I'd be willing to say Ethereum's probably crossed that threshold of time tested. Dogecoin's getting, pretty much there since it's merged.
2014 is Doge. When did it start? I think 2000.
I think it's that, 14. But also since it's been merge mined, they haven't had the issues they had. So it has that same security, and it's likely to think it'll have the same longevity as Bitcoin and Litecoin.
And at this point,
so Ethereum now proof of stake to me makes it more of an experiment that we don't really know how that's going to play out. It's not a new blockchain, but it's kind of new. I mean, you're changing a very important factor. I mean, if Litecoin went to proof of stake, I would probably, I don't know what I would do.
That's a
I'd probably
tough one.
abandon ship. Huh?
That's a tough one. I mean, to think about if that ever happened.
Yes, people have talked about it, and I'm almost like I don't quite understand. I guess you would have to have a hard fork, so you'd have the existing proof of work chain,
Mhm.
and you'd have proof of stake. It would almost require someone, um, if Charlie was around, if it happened in the near future, and he came out and endorsed it and said this is where we're going. I think you probably would see the majority of people do that, which makes you wonder. Centralization. This is an interesting conversation. Um, but I don't. If he wasn't around, and it was just like a community thing, I think you'd have a pretty contentious community change. I
Yeah, I
don't think it's.
mean,
I mean, I don't think it's
I
going to
don't
happen
either.
on Bitcoin or Litecoin. Dogecoin, maybe. I know there's been a lot of people stirring that idea up in Dogecoin, but I like to think there's enough people. So if Elon today said, "I support a hard fork of Dogecoin to proof of stake," I don't know that the majority of Dogecoiners would stick with Doge proof of work. That'd be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, that'd be tough since it's merged mine too, though, because then you've got that aspect of it, because you've got the mining equipment, and they'd have to opt into it. The miners would have to say, "Yeah, let's do." You know what I mean? I don't know, but it's
I
all
don't see it
software.
happening.
Software can be, I mean, software. So there's a risk to anything. I mean, it can be changed, with enough consensus, enough firepower behind it. You look at what happened with Bitcoin and the forks, Bitcoin Cash, and that kind of thing. There's a breakaway moment, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But you make your choice. And if you chose Bitcoin Cash, well, it is what it is. Bitcoin was the dominant one, and so it's, ultimately the market decides. And hey, I'm fine with that. I'll make my choices based on what the market says. And if Litecoin becomes a crap coin for whatever reason, then I'll put my energy somewhere else. But I don't see
Right.
that happening, and so that's why I talk about it, and that's why I use it.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't think that's going to happen. Again, I hope. What's interesting is how few coins are right now proof of work. When you look at your top 100, it's like,
Not many.
yeah. I mean, I could probably look it up. It's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Monero, Zcash, and we're starting to get into the lower ranks already. So
Yeah, and to start a proof of work coin now is basically impossible because it could be easily taken over 51%. You'd have to have a lot of energy behind it and a lot of equipment behind it to where you can dominate it. That'd be pretty hard to do because how much money are you going to put behind a startup like that? With real
right,
firepower, not just a smart contract that you just go out and shill. No, actually putting the energy and the resources behind a new startup like that. I don't know. I don't know that can happen very easily anyway at this point. So that's why these coins that have been running, these proof of work coins have been running for so long. They're so undervalued given what they are and the longevity that's there. And you're seeing the energy going to Bitcoin, but that's why I look at Litecoin. I'm like, man, it's gonna be 12 years nonstop running this October.
yep,
You might want to look into it. I think there's a
yep.
website. Look into Litecoin, right?
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny. So, Return of Nanjing, he seems like he's an XMR guy. He's been posting, but he just posted about random X mining. I know that's a change on Monero, but I need to get a Monero person in here to learn about it. But they
Yeah.
consistently are changing their protocol. Like they hard fork quite often. Which I don't think is bad. It's like a moving target, right? But I don't know enough about that to either endorse or deny it.
Yes, right. I don't either, and I think it's probably a great technology and superior in a lot of ways to a lot of different things. But I look at it as I'm just an average dude in the Midwest. I just want things to work. I want it to be understandable and simple because if I have to explain it to somebody, people aren't technical. A lot of people when you talk about this stuff, you try to get them into cryptocurrency, and they're like, "Well, how do I cash it out?" It's kind of the first question. Well, how
Yeah,
do I do something with it? How can I use it for something? Can I buy things with it? And so they really don't want to get into the technical aspects of it, and that's why I try to keep it simple and say, "Hey, limited supply. This is how many there is. You want a piece of that pie? You want a slice or not?" You know, I mean, then people can kind of get that. They're like, okay, there's only so much, you know, and if I get this, then I'm in a good spot and I can use it. You know, if I've got a Litecoin Visa card, I can spend it if I want to in the existing system. So I don't need somebody to have a Litecoin address or wallet. I mean, and so that's the big thing with me. You got it on PayPal. And I don't know at this point, they were talking about you're going to be able to pay with crypto. Like if you've got a crypto balance on PayPal, I got to test it, that you can actually spend it from your Litecoin balance and then they'll convert it automatically. That feature may be in there already, and I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'll tell you the best thing you should look into is that Cake Wallet, Cake Pay thing is great.
Yeah, with the cards and the gift cards you can buy.
Yeah, because that's totally, you don't,
I know.
there's no KYC to it, right?
That's a great option. So, and you
I
can
think
swap
you get
directly from
discounts on
Litecoin and
everything.
Monero. Right. I mean,
Yeah, I
so
get like
that's a
3% off everything I buy, 3 to
I know.
5% discounts. And yeah, sometimes I do it and it's like I kind of forget about it and I come back, I'm like, why am I not buying everything with this? It saves me 3%
I know, right?
just for the savings.
It's like
you know?
I can have Monero and Litecoin and switch back and forth. That is a great wallet. It really is, to where, I mean, you can. The thing with Monero, it's hard to get into it. I mean, you know, again, it doesn't have the liquidity. However, that bridges that gap to where Litecoin you can get anywhere. And if you got Litecoin, you can put it in your Cake wallet. Boom, you can flip it to Monero if you want to, or you can buy those gift cards. And at that point, you're not in that Visa system. You're not in that MasterCard system. You know, it's that gift card system to where it's kind of a different entity, and you can take that anywhere you want, spend it. You know, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, gift cards are, I don't know why, I find them, at one point I remember realizing, like, you know, people, for Christmas, here's $100 Walmart gift card or something. And I remember thinking, man, Walmart's got all that money. Like, they already have the money now.
Yeah.
Well, even if you never shop there, they got your money. And it's like a
Right.
free loan to them, right? I think they even, at some point, they have like $4 billion in unspent gift cards or something. So they can use that money and earn interest on it. It's their piggy bank at that point, and all they have to do is give you. You're going to come buy something that they're making probably.
Yeah, they're going to make profit on that.
Profit on anyway. Yeah, so they're having to give you $20 worth of stuff and you're upfronting them $40. Like it's a great system. Right?
It really is. It's a great benefit for the merchant because, like you said, how many people never even use it? Yeah, I got $2 on it.
Maybe I should sell Litecoin gift cards.
Hey.
Litecoin Underground. That could actually be something, right? Like, let's say
you too.
Hey, there you go.
Gift card. Get your Litecoin Underground hat. You don't have to get it today. Get it later. So maybe if you forget about the gift card, it's gone. You know, to keep that.
I wonder if, like, what if you went to the store and they had a card? Okay, for $100, I buy a Litecoin gift card, and I'm administering those, so I keep the $100, and then. Whenever the other person decides to redeem it, I just give them $100 worth of Litecoin. I don't know.
Thing is, Litecoin will be $50 at that point, and you'll be like, son of a, you know.
Yeah, God damn it. I know. Yeah, I know.
No.
Who says Litoshis? Whoever Litoshis is, how many Litecoins should one person own?
One, then you're 100 times ahead of the rest of the world because of the math. 8 billion people, 84 million Litecoin. If you got one Litecoin, it's like having one Bitcoin back in 2015. That's the way I look at it.
I got a statistic for you. So my daughter, she's only 9, but she's just got a funny brain. And she's like, you know what's funny is there's somebody being born like right now. We're at the store. She's like right now. And then another person was just born. And I was like, yeah, there are. I was like, I wonder how often people are born. And I'm a nerd, right? So I look at how many people are born per year. I do the math, and there's 4 people born every second in the world. And that got me thinking about even more so the onboarding issue we talk about with 8 billion people and how do you bring everybody on board? Well, you're going to have to come up with 100 million new addresses, or 160 million was the number of people born every year. And it's funny, like they're all going to need new addresses, right? So you're going to always need to be adding new addresses. You're never going to be like, we satisfied 8 billion and it's over.
Right.
Yeah. And 4 every second, which kind of blew my mind. So like you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all day, everevery day, 24/7.
That's like a VC
year after
coin,
year.
You know,
that's
it's
how
like
people
you're just shitting them out.
Jesus, we need to slow down, man.
But you look at the mortality rate though, or the death rate, whatever you want to call it, in the U.S. I mean, I don't think we're keeping up. And if we don't have immigration and people coming in, I mean, the existing amount of people in the U.S., we're not reproducing enough. It's like less than 2 children per couple. So we're kind of losing ground on that aspect of it. But, you know, you've got the rest of the world that's, you know, still flourishing.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about that on Wednesday. Does this if we have a new money system, right? Does that make borders less viable?
I mean, I think it can. If it's worldwide money and it doesn't, I think it absolutely does, because here's the way I look at it. You've got sovereign money. You kind of become a sovereign person at that point, because you can take your assets and your wealth anywhere you want to go. And so it does at some point erase borders, because you really can't that's the big thing. You're a citizen of this state. You're a citizen of the United States. You know, there's certain control structures based on that. But at some point, maybe you're just a citizen of the world, because you take your wealth with you and all your energy stored up with you in your seed phrase, or, you know, your crypto, whatever it is. You're not carrying around any of these tangible things that, like property, you know, and like gold and silver. Hey, we're going to confiscate gold, you know, the government says. Well, how are they going to confiscate a seed phrase, you know, in your head? I mean, how do they do that? You know, so you get chips and implants and all that when you're born, and then it's all, get your wallet tied into your DNA and all that,
Put a camera in your eyeball or something.
Yeah, right. But it does kind of erase borders if you can take all your wealth with you anywhere you want to go. You're really, you know, that starts to erode, I think. And I think you're seeing that right now. And they're trying to maintain control when it's going to be hard for them.
Yeah, it'd be cool if we can get to a point where maybe optimistically that governments throw up their hands and go, we're out of the money game. Like, we're out of the money business, and we've got to function without that control. I don't think it'll happen peacefully, but hopefully that day comes where we don't have this grip. I love your phrasing, Vampire Casino. If I had any recommendation for you, change your channel name to like Vampire Casino.
The Vampire Casino.
You guys should have, like, I was looking up yesterday, because there's I've always said blue collar crypto, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are a couple channels called blue collar crypto, but
yeah,
you got a coalition.
That's it. You know, grassroots. You know, just working man. You know, people that are boots on the ground, trying to survive, trying to find ways out, and that's the thing that a lot of people get frustrated by. It's like, well, where do I even begin? How do I even get out of this thing? And I mean, you know, I got my retirement and I got this, and, you know, and everything's tied in this existing system. If you got $100 left over, put it into something different. You know, buy Litecoin, one Litecoin a month, or buy whatever crypto you resonate with, or buy some silver if you want to. You know, do those things, because if indeed you lose everything in that old system because it collapses and the dollar just goes poof, think about the value that you're going to hold just in that little bit of item, because it's going to be so much more valuable, because it survives and it has a use case. I mean, Weimar Germany, when it collapses, you know, what's going to have value if the money no longer has value? Well, if you get a silver coin, or if you've got now this digital asset that you can give to somebody, I mean, you're way ahead, because most people aren't going to have it. I mean, that's why I do the numbers. I mean, you know, 1/100th of a Litecoin per person. So, yeah, you know, that system's going to sustain itself, and that's what sound money is. Got the door open today. But that's what sound money is. It exists outside of the government. You know, it's not like Confederate bills to where they lose, okay, they're worth nothing. I mean, gold holds its value because of that reason. Silver does. Crypto will, just because no government has issued it. And it stands alone outside itself. So that's what sound money is.
Yeah, I can't imagine living like the South, and you use the money, and then the war ends, and you're like, this is nothing. Now I have absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if their money was redeemable in anything. I'd be
right. Probably not.
It'd be an interesting conversation.
I'm
not really sure how the money in the South worked. So, all right. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, maybe we'll do these more often. Like I said, I want to get a couple of these done.
Yeah.
I don't want to take everybody's day. I've already done some. I got to go mow my lawn, because where you are, it's actually been nice out. So
I mowed already, and I've got 5 acres here. And then Mitch, my buddy, he lives across the street's got 2 acres, and he's traveling right now. So I was mowing all freaking week, it feels like. And now it looks like it needs to be mowed again.
Yeah.
And I got to go to Oklahoma City on Friday and Saturday. I'm leaving Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
So, I only got so much time, in the window.
So who else is going to be there? You and
me and Bix Weir. If you don't know who he is, roadtoruta.com. He talks a lot about silver in the monetary system, and he's kind of seen this coming for a long time, in cryptocurrencies, and he's a big Litecoin fan. I'll tell you what, if you can get him on the show, that'd be a great show because, he's got so much information. And I'll talk to him.
Has he been on your Friday thing?
Yeah, he was on a couple of weeks ago talking about the Oklahoma City event, and he did a road show. Because he's a musician too, and he sings songs, and he's the one that sang "Litecoin is the right coin," and he performed before the 2018 Litecoin Summit the night before, and the 2019 the night before, and brought a lot of people in and had this concert, where he played music, and it's more of like a folk type artist singer talking about all this stuff, and he's a great dude. He really is. He's on point when it comes to sound money, so it's somebody that look into. But he's going to be there. Bitcoin Ben is going to be there. Everybody knows Bitcoin Ben. Johnny Litecoin's going to be there. I'm not sure. There's other people in the community who are going to be there who are in the chat all the time. They're driving in from Texas and flying in from Florida and just all over the country, really.
Javier going to be there?
He's trying to be there because he said he just got to Florida and he's like, I don't know if I can make it back. I'll have to fly back there. And, he wants to really go. And so I don't know if he's going to be able to make it or not. Paulie, unfortunately, can't make it because of conflicting, things that he's got going on. But there are a lot of people in the community that are going to be there. And it's, of course, Litecoin Lisa's going to be there. And I'll be there.
How long is the drive? How long is that drive for you?
It's about a 10-hour drive. It's about 700 miles. One way.
Okay, yeah, that's a ways. Because I'm probably 5 hours from you, something like that. So I'm not driving 15 hours.
Yeah. So if you want, when we end this, if you want to hang around for a couple of minutes, I'll give some details and that stuff. But
I'm not going to go.
No, I'm talking about something else, and we'll talk about that. Won't talk publicly about it. Privately.
Oh, you got another
inside scoop.
Alpha. They call it alpha.
Yes, I got some alpha. The top of the food.
You're already drinking and smoking a cigar. Jesus.
I know, right? I need another beer. That's the thing. If you're going to continue this, I'll go get another beer. But
no, I think we're good. I think we're good. I'm going to keep these digestible. I'm going to put these. I'm going to put these on the podcast as well, and I'll make these into a video. Yeah. And so I guess that's it. Go see Clint Westwood at clintwestwood.net or show up in Oklahoma City. I have a ticket. Only one person has reached out as far as wanting to be entered in the drawing so far. So we have somebody in the clubhouse, as they say, that has their ticket to OKC. It is Oklahoma City, right? Is that where she is?
It's in Oklahoma City. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's open, and
it's a good time, man. Get there.
Another thing we're going to be doing soon, I might as well announce it. I'll post it as well. But I was talking to on the Litecoin Foundation about doing a regular monthly spaces. So I think we're going to do first Wednesday of every month. They'll come in for whatever, half hour, whatever, just update on what's happening with the Litecoin Foundation. So
that's cool.
That might be kind of cool.
Yep.
But that's all I got for you.
Oh, that's good.
All right.
So once MWeb wallets roll out on the mobile wallets, or MWeb rolls out on the mobile wallets, you want to have Litecoin before then, I think. Because when it gets
dude, I think that's gonna be great.
That's huge. That's a huge thing.
Really well, so take Cake Wallet, perfect example. Once they have MWeb and you can buy gift cards, if you can buy gift cards with MWeb, what an
you got digital cash, baby.
You got peer-to-peer digital cash anywhere in the world, 24/7.
Yeah.
Well, so if you got something else that comes up when you guys have events, reach out. I'm trying to do these Saturday morning things. I can't always. It's, family shit comes up, vacations and that. But I try to do it. We'll figure something out. But all right, everybody.
Let's talk after the show.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Keep stacking.